Well, and it's always a pleasure to have on the line Peter Morici, an economist from the University of Maryland, an all-round good guy. How are you, Dr. Morici?
I'm fine. I'm good.
All right, so I've been reading mixed reviews. I mean, there are people out there right now who say, when you look at the stock market, that, we're doing okay right now. Generally, the stock market's up. It did recently had one of its all-time highs. But some people out there are nervous about the stock market. So what would you say about that today?
Well, they're right to be nervous. I mean, asset prices have been inflated by all the money that the Fed is pumping, into the economy. People say we haven't had inflation from all the Fed pumping. Well, we have, but it just hasn't been at the supermarket. It's been in housing prices. They're up like 25, 30%, 35% in some places. It's in stock prices, agricultural land. So there's a lot of places, probably also student tuition. Very cheap money permits the federal government to continue very low subsidized loan rates because it can print these bonds to finance it very cheaply. And so what do the universities do? If you give the students more money, they raise tuition some more.
Yeah,
I mean, don't ever accuse my president of self-control when it comes to cost, or any other university president.
Well, so let me ask you. I mean, is Peter Morici, has he got his money in the stock market, or is he pulling out?
Well, I'm the old school. I put a little bit in each month, and I have been since I was 25. Dollar cost averaging, whatever you want to call it. And I just leave it in and ride it out. I mean, I'm not smart enough to pick when it's going to fall and when it's going to rise. And if you know somebody that good, let me know. Buffett doesn't do that. He picks undervalued stocks.
And he just stays with them, right?
Yeah, I mean, the next guy. It's like having a system at Las Vegas. The bank always wins.
Peter Morici, we would never call you a drip, but are you saying you're a dividend reinvestment kind of guy?
Well, I don't do dividend reinvestment.
All right.
Well, I do reinvest my dividends. I mean, they're automatically reinvested, except some stuff in a private account where I don't want to have to deal with the problem of keeping track of small purchases.
Yeah.
And I just let those dividends flow into my checking account. But by and large, I'm a boring economists like to just basically bet on the average and bet on the economy.
By the way, in this context, being a drip is not a bad thing.
No, it's not. No. You use that language, not did I.
No. Drip, dividend reinvestment portfolio.
Yeah,
Peter, I know you know. Peter Morici, economist from University of Maryland, is our guest, and I got to ask you about this mortgage initiative the president did. It sort of didn't really get a whole lot of attention. The president spoke in front of a high school in Arizona. The kids seemed pretty bored about it because he was talking about homeowners. Yeah. Did you see the shots of the kids in the audience? They were snoozing.
Let's put some paint on the wall and watch it dry.
But I follow you, Peter Morici, on Twitter. At PMorici1, and so I saw that you've written about this. Talk to me about what's really going on with the president's new mortgage initiative. Are we looking at another big Freddie and Fannie problem in the future?
Well, if he gets his way, yeah. As I've written in an editorial on Fox, the Fox News webpage, the president wants the banks to get back in the business of making loans, and he also wants affordable loans for the middle class. And the hidden agenda with Democrats is always, and you're going to do this in troubled neighborhoods at the same rate as well. Well, middle-class people are higher risk than they once were. So the chances of people defaulting are much greater. The uncertainties in the job market, two-income families, things of that nature, make people more risky. And think about what banks are doing when they give you a 30-year mortgage. They're betting that you're going to keep your job and be a stable guy for 30 years, and housing prices are never going to fall, so that if you lose your job, they can sell the house. But that's absurd. Banks aren't going to take those risks unless the government either subsidizes them by basically buying the loans from the banks, as it does now, or just subsidizing them directly. And it's going to have to basically guarantee the banks, or no private investors with any brains will invest in banks that write mortgages. Mortgage lending is inherently very risky stuff. We got fooled into thinking it wasn't, and that's part of what caused the financial crisis. Of course, everybody being wholly irresponsible up and down the line didn't help.
I'm going to wind you up here because I know you're going to have a lot to say about this. The president and members of Congress and the leadership got together and they worked out something that will protect members of Congress from the ravages of Obamacare. In other words, it may be okay for the rest of America, but the elite elected class has decided to exempt themselves from it. Nancy Pelosi, former Speaker of the House when this was passed into law, a woman who said, look, we have to pass it to find out what's in it, said, well, we had to do something because we were going to have a brain drain.
give you an idea how lawless this administration is, there's a clause in the law that says, notwithstanding past law, essentially members of Congress and their staff will be subject to this law. Notwithstanding means setting aside past law, you have to do this. The Obama administration says it means the opposite. Now, the thing is that it is long established in the legal profession what notwithstanding means in federal statute. It means whatever follows no longer applies. But Mr. Obama, who, by the way, what goes on at the University of Chicago Law School? That they permitted this man to teach if he doesn't even know the words. I mean, lawyers are all about 1,000 words. What does the word discretion mean? What does the word tort mean? What does the word contract mean? And on that list, under N, is notwithstanding. This is a completely lawless move. It's what Gingrich used to talk about during his first days as the tyranny of power. You know, where the Congress, their workers couldn't unionize, but everybody else's was subject to strict unionization rules. This is really let them eat cake. It's truly Marie Antoinette. I think he should have signed that executive order from a vacation in a French palace. You know that? I think he should have done it from there, from Versailles. Exactly.
Exactly.
They basically should have moved. The French need money. We could have printed some more of it, rented him some space, and he could have had a vacation with the wife and the girls over there where he printed. You know, he signed that, and under it he signed it, let him eat cake, Obama.
All right, Peter Morici.
And on that, we'll let you go on that one. Dr. Peter Morici, always a pleasure to have you.
Okay, take care. I'll see you in a few weeks. I'm going to Europe for my vacation.
Are you going to Versailles?
You're going to Versailles?
Ah.
No, I'm going to Ireland and Scotland.
Well, let us eat cake, Peter
that's right.
Morici.
I'm going to drink beer.
Good for you.
Anyway, take care.
All right, thanks a lot. Peter